it's a shame that we can't get that back more in society. It seems like it's being driven and pushed out, further and further as time goes by. And I think that's unacceptable as a nation when we used to be the icon and beacon of hope for the entire world. And now the entire world is watching everything crumble, and there's no morality. It's these demons are trying to win, and we have to be the ones to step up and defeat the evil. There's no other people that are going to do it on this planet but us, right? Because we're the last ones with a moral compass that are still here on Earth, that aren't manipulated by the media. We still research stuff. We still can put two and two together, and we're like the glue of the fabric of society that holds everything together. And if we lose our country, they're going to come after us. We're the first people that they're going to come after. And we spent too much time trying to secure this republic to let it slip between our fingers and let it just get all dissolved by these globalist interests that want to, autonomize everything, right? I used to push on the old podcast, Know Your Enemies, about the Fourth Industrial Revolution. And that was coined by Klaus Schwab in the World Economic Forum. And, we had the Second Industrial Revolution, the third, with the computer technology coming out. And now we're at a point where we're getting into the robots and a whole different era of technology. And if we don't have safeguards in place to keep us protected against these things, it's going to swallow us all. So the Fourth Industrial Revolution is about automating everything in society, down to every single job. You're a carpenter, you're a plumber, you're a steam fitter, you're an auto mechanic, you're a framer. Doesn't matter what you do in life. You could be a doctor. They have robots that are going to take your place. And unless people start getting serious and stop laughing it off like it's a joke, they're going to take your place, whether you like it or not. And that's where we're going. And so digital Bill of Rights, I've been pushing it forever. We have a paper Bill of Rights that protects us against the government, right, that are physical people. But what about the people that don't have souls that are going to want to govern over us in the future, right? Shouldn't we have a Bill of Rights against that? I don't hear anybody talking about it. Nobody's talking about it. So that's the direction we need to go, and we need to safeguard ourselves from the Fourth Industrial Revolution, which is from the World Economic Forum and the same people that are congregating at the World Health Organization that wanted you jabbed and injected with the mRNA technology that kills you, right? Big depopulation agenda that took place. I was warning you in 2020, 2019, towards the end of it, when I found the patent number 101307001, still didn't forget it. And I found out everything I needed to know about what was going on with the pandemic simulations, with the Bill Gates and Event 201 and Crimson Contagion and all these other things that were taking place. So they were prepping and priming the public to, be subservient to these new mandates. And I think a lot of these people that are showing up at these No Kings protests all took the jab because they all have the same look in their eyes. I'm sorry, man. It's just lights on, no one's home. Like they got a body, but there's no soul inside. You can't connect with anything when you're trying to look into their eyes and have conversations. So I don't know. Something weird's going on here. It's either, the humans are being phased out and we're the last of a dying breed, or this is science fiction turning into reality. But we already... Nice. All right. So our Zoom guest is here. We're going to work out some technicals with him with the camera and everything. Oh, okay. All right, so I have a Zoom guest. His name's Dave Gaubatz, and we're going to bring him in real quick. We'll do a quick segment, and then on the other side, we'll start getting into the meat and potatoes of everything. What's up, Dave? Welcome to the show. I appreciate you. Let me give you a little announcement here. So we're joined by Dave Gaubatz. He's a man who spent years on the front lines of national security, a former federal agent who went undercover, infiltrated dangerous networks, and risked everything to expose threats he believed are operating within our country. His investigations have sparked major controversy and national attention, and here tonight to share what he's seen firsthand, joining us now, Dave Gaubatz. What's up, brother?
Hey, thank you very much, James.
Absolutely. Welcome back to the show. So yeah, what a crazy time we're living in right now with everything and with the war and everything going on. I know you're pretty much an expert in the in the topic of the Muslim invasion and Islamic extremists. So I figured I'd let you introduce yourself and break down, what you know and how you got here.
Well, again, thanks, James. But I have to emphasize in America right now, we have no true counterterrorism experts. I have specialized in counterterrorism for over 45 years, but the problem we have, in order to be an expert, it takes about 15 to 20 different qualities. One would be you should be an Arabic linguist. You have got to have traveled all across the world, especially in the Middle East. You must have worked in the Middle East. You have to have interviewed dozens, if not hundreds, of Al-Qaeda, ISIS, Muslim Brotherhood members. And you have to know the insides and outside of a mosque. That's just four right from the beginning. And sadly, in America, we just don't have the people who have actually got the qualities to call themselves an expert. And I'll give a good example. For a surgeon to have never been in a hospital or an operating room, they may have read 1,000 books, talked to 1,000 people, went to 20 years of university. But if they've never even been in an operating room of a hospital, they're not an expert and never can be. And what I've seen across for the last few decades in America, the people who are saying that they're counterterrorism experts, I would say 99 out of 100 have never even been inside a mosque. And you cannot be an expert on Islam if you do not know how a mosque works and how the mindset of the people is the number one quality that you must have. You must understand who you're dealing with. You must know your enemy. I started out in the 70s, first going to the Middle East and Saudi Arabia in 1979. And my last assignment with the government was in 2003 when I went into Iraq at the start of Operation Iraqi Freedom. In between, I've been to numerous Middle Eastern countries. I've been through the State Department 1 year Arabic linguist course. And inside America, I've been inside undercover in over 425 mosques. That's inside America alone. And I'm telling you, we do not have the people who have even been in the mosque. And that's why I don't even consider myself an expert, because it takes much more than even what I've got. Now, I think I am one of the few that has an extensive record dealing with Islam for over 45 years. And most importantly, I do know the mindset of the Islamic terrorist. I have been trained for months and years by individual senior Al-Qaeda members who have left Al-Qaeda and traveled and moved to the United States and now working with U.S. law enforcement. And that is a lot of my training. So that's really my background, James. And I continue to go undercover in mosque. I just went through last year to Chicago. I've been to Dallas and Detroit, all within the last year.
Wow. Well, we commend you for that, man. That's great. So the language that's being spoken in these mosques, like the rhetoric, is it extreme? Are they talking about vengeance? So that, we got about 50 seconds and we'll get into the meat and potatoes, but just something light.
Well, about 20 years ago inside the mosque when I was going, they would be more vocal. They would talk about overthrowing the government, assassinating people, harming our law enforcement. They would do this from the podium. Now they understand that law enforcement is just not going to put up with that anymore. So what they do is use manuals, they use books, brochures, and they put out the same message: overthrow the U.S. government, harm U.S. law enforcement, destroy and kill Jews and Christians worldwide. So they still have the same material in the mosque, they're just not vocalizing it.
All right. Well, we're going to jump to a quick break, and then we're going to get down into the meat and potatoes of this ideology. We'll see you on the other side.
Have you noticed your money just doesn't stretch like it used to? Your paycheck feels lighter, and your savings aren't growing. The culprits? Inflation and increased money supply. They've both been quietly eating away at your purchasing power for years. Today, the dollar's value has dropped significantly. You feel it every time you spend money on goods and services. Back in 1965, $1 or an ounce of silver could buy you a gallon of milk. Fast forward to today. That same dollar barely buys a couple of coffee creamers, while an ounce of silver would get you 8 gallons of milk. Gold and silver have held their value for centuries. If you had 2,500 ounces of silver back in 1965, you could buy a brand new Ford Mustang. Today, 2,500 ounces of silver would buy you 2 Mustangs. Similarly, in the year 2000, 628 ounces of gold would buy a new $170,000 home. Today, 628 ounces would buy you a $2,500,000 home. The problem? 95% of Americans don't own physical gold or silver. They think it's too complicated and too expensive, but it doesn't have to be. We offer a membership program that allows you to buy gold or silver with as little as $1. You can buy fractional amounts, safely vault them, or have them delivered to your doorstep, and you can liquidate them whenever you want at the highest buyback price in the industry. Ready to protect your wealth and keep your purchasing power? Scan the QR code or go to tafw.soundmoney.com to learn more.
If the vote count is accurate, then how come the number of voters is different? And if it's not accurate, then why was it certified? We are suing Letitia James and the New York State Board of Elections for a conspiracy against fundamental rights. This is not about who won. It's not about what party. It's about the fact that they don't care about your rights.
Live from Studio 6B on a Friday night, live at the America First Warehouse.
It's me, Joe the Box.
And I'm John the Blanket with the America First Podcast.
That's what I'm talking about. The Fred Rubino Podcast coming to you from the America First Warehouse.
Welcome, everybody, to the James Justice Show, tearing these airwaves apart with all the craziness that goes on in the world.
Welcome to the Patriots Podcast. Good evening, everyone.
Hey, everybody. Welcome back to the On the Right Side podcast here at the America First Warehouse in Long Island, New York.
Shane Jenkins here with another episode of Liberty's Cage.
Hi, everyone, and welcome to our podcast, Red, Right, and True.
We are streaming live on America First Media and Television app.
Welcome, ladies and gentlemen, Kevin Downey Jr. Podcast. Be free, stay free.
All right. Welcome back to the James Justice Show, episode 3, with my special guest, Dave Gaubatz. And we're going to be breaking down this Islamic invasion, the mindset, and what really goes on, behind closed doors with some of these people. Welcome back, Dave.
Thank you.
Yeah, absolutely. So I was in the city a few weeks back. I don't know if you saw it on the news, where there was 2 terrorists that threw IEDs at a group of protesters.
Yes, I heard about that.
Yeah. So when they threw that first bomb, and the guy's like, Ali Akbar, I was the guy that was on the fence recording, and he threw it right past my head. And it was wild. And he threw another one to my right, and I had to duck underneath the staircase. But thankfully, they never went off, and the fuse didn't ignite. But, oh, my God, what a crazy time that was. But so do you think that... I don't know, that these extremists are starting to come out a little bit more now because of the war, or do you think that they've just been waiting for an opportunity to launch?
Well, they've been waiting for the word to come out, especially on the Shia side, which is the Iranians. Iranians, of course, leadership gave the message a few weeks ago for sleeper cells in America to start activating. In 2007, I think I sent you a copy of this. In 2007, I wrote an article about sleeper cells in the U.S. and Canada, and it was a pretty extensive article, and I talked about exactly what is going on today. And again, that was in 2007. So if you want to share that somehow with your audience later, that would be great. Yeah. I sent you a link to it.
Okay, yeah, I'll put that out after.
But I did. 2 decades ago plus, I started seeing more and more people as I was going to the mosque that were especially from Iran that were coming into America. They were going to the safe houses in the mosque, And I was told over and over again, James, that when they are ready for sleeper cell attacks, they will start committing them. And Iran, again, the leadership has gave the word for sleeper cells across the world to become active. So the IEDs that you had thrown at you, I think that we're going to see many, many more of this happening, because some people refer to these individuals as lone wolves. They're not lone wolves. They're part of the Islamic ideology. They fall under either two categories. One, they follow the Shia rule law, which is headquarters essentially is Iran, or they fall under the Sunnis, which is essentially headquarters Saudi Arabia. And in the U.S., we have seen the movement for sleeper cells supporting Shia to become active. And we're going to start seeing more and more of these. And they're going to, instead of the IEDs not exploding, they're going to be more and more exploding. Something, James, I need to mention. When I was in Iraq, I had the opportunity to interview dozens and dozens of Al-Qaeda and Saddam Fedayeen fighters. And I would ask them, what is going to be the next type of attacks in America? And remember, this is 2003. And over, we were told this. They said, Dave, they call me Daoud, my Arabic name. They said, Daoud, what is going to happen is we are going to go after the hearts of the American people. And first, they said it wasn't going to be physical, it was going to be through the minds. And I asked them, what is the heart of the American people? And they said, it's your children. And this is 2003. And I said, how are you going to do that? They said, we're going to start infiltrating the school systems across America. And then we're going to get into the minds of the young children. We're going to win their hearts. And as you see, thousands of universities and high schools across America, they've done that. They've touched the minds, they've touched the hearts. And that's why we're seeing groups that are supporting Iranians who are killing innocent people before they will U.S. troops. And so they've already got the mindset. And then they told me when it's necessary, they will perform physical type jihad against the hearts of the American people. And again, they said that is going to be our children. They will start attacking at schools, elementary schools, high schools, universities, the children, because they know that is the easiest way to terrorize the Americans. And it's true.
Yeah, it is true. It is true because, Americans hold their families and their children especially really up high. And for people to be bullied and intimidated over threats to their children, it makes people snap out of the fight mindset and go to flight mindset in order to protect their kids. And it turns the nation into a bunch of softies. And that's the last thing we need right now.
Yeah, exactly. A 9/11 type of attack is awful. It's terrible. And I've asked many imams, Islamic leaders, when I go undercover in the mosque, I say, why haven't there been another 9/11 type of attack in America? And of course, we've had the Boston bombers and more not as extreme as 9/11 type of attacks. But the imams have told me over and over, James, they say the reason that we haven't had another 9/11 in America is because we, talking about the Islam, they are winning in America. And to have another 9/11 would set them back 25 years. They say when they need another 9/11, they'll have another 9/11. But they can easily attack 2 to 3 schools and put just as much terror into the minds of the Americans as they would even 2 9/11s. Go to 3 elementary schools, they've said, attack them, harm hundreds of innocent children, and it's going to be 10 times what the 9/11 type of attacks would be inside the minds of the American people. We would be terrorized. It would destroy the economy. It would destroy everything that we've worked for 200 years in America.
Yeah, and that's a shame. I mean, I see videos all the time that, you see the videos online and then they disappear because they get deleted. But, I've seen the videos where these radical Islamists, they're pulling out giant swords that they look like they had made in Saudi Arabia. And they're like, yo, off with your heads. If you're the infidels. We're coming for everybody. We're not going to stop until Islam's in every single house throughout this entire country. And as a Christian nation, I take high offense to that. And what could we do about the people that are here that have this ideology, but they're citizens and they want to go up against America? I mean, legally, what could we do? We can't deport these people, right? Like, do we charge them with sedition? How does that work?
Well, legally, we could take care of it in a heartbeat. We could deport non-citizens, anyone who's showing up at rallies, protests, where they're anti-American. Just like any other country, you go to Mexico illegally, you're going to be put in jail. In America, we have the laws to stop this. We should be deporting individuals who are not aligning with the U.S. Constitution.
Yeah.
A very easy fix. Now, we could stop there's 3,500 plus mosques in America that have nonprofit IRS status. And we could stop that immediately. The majority of mosques, as I've proven over and over again, do not want to assimilate into America. They say Sharia law trumps the U.S. Constitution. They want to overthrow the U.S. government, and they want to kill Jews and Christians worldwide. They are putting this out inside their mosque today in 2026, and that is easy enough reason to shut their nonprofit status down, close them down. You could easily shut down 3,500 mosques in America with a stroke of a pen. Now, the will of politicians to do this, to deport people, to shut down Islamic mosques, that is a whole nother topic. I've always said we could defeat the Islamic ideology, which is set out in their own words to destroy this country. We could stop it. But in my heart and what I've dealt with for 45 years, I don't see that happening.
Yeah, they have too much of a stronghold. And the problem is, their family units are just so explosive. They're having 10 kids, 15 kids. And, the American families can't keep up with that with 2.5 kids at max. It's bad. Within 30 years, you're talking about a whole dynamical shift between the census of certain demographics. Where you can't reverse it. It's over. So we have to attack this now and get these people out of here. And it's just going back to it. What do we do about the legal people that are here that are siding with Iran? That are U.S. citizens that are basically extremists on our soil.
Well, that is the definition of treason and sedition. There are laws in place to actually charge, arrest, and imprison people who are U.S. citizens who are openly calling for the destruction of the U.S. government. We have the First Amendment right to do certain things. We do not have a right to walk in a theater and yell fire.
Yeah.
That is not something that we have a right to do. You also don't have a right under the U.S. Constitution to call for the overthrow of the U.S. government, the assassination of our politicians, which they are openly doing across America. There are laws to do it, but they won't do it. I'll give you an example of something I've come across in 400 plus mosques in America. And I may have mentioned this to you previously. I went to a mosque in Nashville, Tennessee. It was a Somalian mosque. People had left Minnesota, and this was about 8 years ago. They had left Minnesota, Somalian group. They set up a mosque in Nashville, Tennessee. I went there for 2 weeks undercover with a female researcher. We were in the mosque going through Sharia classes. And as you may know, James, I always go in as a practicing hardcore Muslim when I go into the mosque. I'm not Muslim, but that is the background that I use, and I fit in very well. So we're going through 2 week classes, and in one class, this little girl sat next to my female researcher, and she was about 7 years old. She told my researcher, she said, "My back is hurting, my arms are hurting. Will you help me?" And my researcher said, "Honey, what's wrong?" And the little girl showed her welts and bruises on her back and her arms. And she said that the imams and leaders of the mosque would beat them when they don't do something Sharia.
Oh my God! We gotta take a quick break. We're gonna finish that on the other side. All right.
Okay.
All right. We'll be right back, guys.
Good.
You've worked hard and saved, but inflation and increased money supply are eroding your buying power. Protect and grow your wealth with physical gold and silver. Sound Money. With a Sound Money wallet, your wealth stays in your control. Buy fractionally, vault securely, ship directly, and instantly liquidate your gold and silver at the highest buyback price in the industry. Real money, real ownership. Visit tafwsoundmoney.info or scan the QR code and start securing your financial future today.
The America First Ultra MAGA Store. For all your MAGA needs. We sell t-shirts, tumblers, flags, hats, sneakers, bumper stickers, and a whole lot more. The most patriotic America First retail store. The America First Ultra MAGA Store.
Get ready to move and celebrate freedom like never before. The America First Warehouse proudly presents Freedom in Motion, America 250. Join Lisa for an electrifying dance fitness fundraiser designed to get your heart pumping and your spirit soaring. This dynamic 6-week session is perfect for all fitness levels, whether you're just starting out or ready to level up your routine. Feel the energy of an epic patriotic playlist. Boost your fitness, learn exciting new moves, and relieve stress while having an absolute blast. All for just $100 per person, and it all supports a great cause. Spots are limited, so don't wait. Come dance, get fit, and celebrate America 250 in motion.
Corporate transfer. Fine professional, moving and storage, and inventory management.
America First Warehouse was really the most patriotic venue that you can ever imagine. We wanted to build something for people to be able to come to and feel so comfortable and so relaxed, because there is nothing out there like it. We give an opportunity for people to really feel good about themselves and about this great country.
Everybody, welcome back to the James Justice Show. We're going to jump right back into it with our guest, Dave Gaubatz, and he was talking about a 7-year-old girl. Quite a powerful story. Let's jump back into that.
Yeah, with a 7-year-old, she had said that she had been beat. She had welts and bruises. And then the little 7-year-old girl said, and my husband does this to me, and my husband does that. And I said, time out right then. I immediately went to the sheriff's department, the chief of police. I contacted the FBI, members of Congress. I even contacted CARE, who is supposed to help the Muslim people. Every one of those organizations and people said, no, they cannot do anything. It's their religion. They can follow Sharia law in the manner they want to. And this is politicians from the left and the right. So finally I went out and I publicly started naming these people who were not going to help this innocent child. And after several months, Child Protective Services went in, protected that one girl, and then eventually that mosque was closed down. But that is happening in 3,500 mosques across America. They follow Muhammad. And Muhammad is the example for all mankind and their belief. Muhammad married a 6-year-old child, Aisha, and they put out in books and pamphlets dated 2025, 2026, advocating for adult men to marry children whenever they possibly can.
Yeah. And he married her at 6 and then slept with her at 9, right?
Well, he says that they consummated the marriage at 9, but in actuality, Prophet Muhammad raped Aisha from the time she was 6 until the time she was 18. Ugh. There's no consent given for a child. I had one argument with mom one time. He said, no, she was 10 years old when he consummated the marriage. I said, okay, you win. So he raped a 10-year-old child and not a 9. But in actuality, he recommended to all of his friends to marry young children. And that child, Aisha, slept with him from the time she was 6 until 18.
Ugh, it's absolutely disgusting. I mean, I don't know how anybody could know that happened and then call Muhammad a prophet and the Most High. That's disgusting. That's disgusting. It's not compatible with Christianity whatsoever.
No, it's not. And that's what we're seeing in all the mosques across America. A Muslim cannot say that Prophet Muhammad was wrong to marry an innocent child. They cannot say that. That would be blasphemy and a death penalty for them to do it. So when you talk about the peace-loving Muslims in America who do not abide by what Muhammad did, and that and many other things, such as killing Christians and Jews, you have to look at it as if they say they do not support Muhammad, then in actuality, they are apostates of Islam and no longer Muslim. There are many people like that, but in essence, they have left Islam and are no longer Muslim, and they are subject to the death penalty just as much as you and I are.
Yeah, yeah, it's crazy. The whole ideology is just insane, and I wish we didn't have to be split apart by all these different religions, and I wish everybody could just understand that there's one prime creator, and we should all be worshiping that, and everybody be in unison, and it would be a much better place with peace.
It would be a much better place. And you and I, during the break, mentioned a little bit about Saudi Arabia. Many people get the idea, and even through conservative media, people and Americans believe that the Saudis are our friends. The Saudis are not our friends. They're helping us against Iran right now because they despise the Shia people. They do not believe that they're Muslim, but don't get that confused with supporting America. And I'll give a good example of that real quick. In 2003, when I was going into Iraq, we had to go through Saudi Arabia and customs. And immediately Saudi customs, with our 18-year-old kids who were ready to give up their life, they would take the Christian Bibles of the American soldiers, and in front of them, they would throw them in the trash. And that was bad. But what we had majors, colonels, generals, Americans who watched them do that and did nothing but continue to call the Saudis our friends. Don't ever let it be confused that the Saudis are our friends, because they're not. They will turn on Americans the first opportunity they get.
Yeah. Yeah, I mean, I think when it comes down to it, we talk about we have all these different allies, and at the end of the day, I really don't think we have as many allies as the government puts out, because at the end of the day, who's really helping America? Who's really, wanting us to succeed and thrive as a nation? I think the only person that wanted to see that was Trump. And all the past presidents have just sold us out and lined their pockets and did the most corrupt, disgusting things that, your mind can imagine. But, at this point, we all got to come together and save this republic and restore it back to what it was and put some shine on it,
Yeah, and it's not for you or I, James. We have all lived good lives. We're, in our adult lives right now. The people who are going to suffer in America are going to be the children, as they always do in any type of war. It's always the children who are going to suffer, and our next generation of children are going to suffer because we, as adults, sat back and allowed it to happen.
Yeah, and that's a big problem that I come to find, all right? Now, I'm involved with a lot of different patriot groups throughout the country, and, everybody sends me videos of what they're doing, and I never see, ever, the amount of people that show up when Democrats throw something. And that's a big problem, is Republicans don't know how to organize. The American people themselves don't know how to organize, and we're getting spanked when it comes to events, to having numbers and making the optics look like we're on the winning side. it's bad. And I think, the American people really need to put down the TVs, shut them off, to throw your phones in the cabinet, and really study the Constitution. And once you know the Constitution and the Bill of Rights, you can start to get an idea of how far we slipped off of that and what needs to be done. But, the educational services in this country, when it comes to the history of America, are not doing any favors to the American people. So, everybody's in the dark with the blinders on.
Yeah, and again, it's hurting the children. There are things that we could do to protect our children currently, but we do not have people. We have President Trump who's doing his best, but even now in the 2020s, we have presidents who serve basically 2 years, because come November, it's very likely that the House and the Senate are going to be taken over by the Democrats, and we're going to have President Trump, who has a hard time now getting anything done.
Yep.
It will be near impossible for him to get anything done.
Yeah,
then
he'll be a lame duck president, and nothing gets done, and it's just kick the can down the road for 2 years, and then Democrats regain power. And the only way out of this that I see, for something big to happen, for us to actually secure the midterms, is to make some major arrests. We need to see Crossfire Hurricane, the Obamas, the Clintons, for the Lolita Express, all the unredacted names we need off the Epstein files. And once we could start locking up these high-profile people and the American people see, okay, maybe there is some accountability going on, I think that's the only thing that's going to save these midterms. Because, lowering gas prices and putting more corn oil into the market, it's not going to be enough to secure the midterms. So we need to see some high-profile arrests, and we need accountability immediately, and then we start rooting out the people of the country. Once we secure the next 2 years with the midterms, we'll have a little more flexibility to actually deport all these extremist people and really get the job done. But if we lose it, I hate to say it, but I think America's futures are very, very dark.
I agree with you 100%, because if we were to go out and start holding these people, the Democrats, accountable for illegal activity, then the country would turn around and the people would see that, well, something is being done. People are being held to account. But right now, all we see is congressional and Senate hearings, and you have dozens of people paraded before a podium. And then at the end, absolutely nothing is ever done. Many of these people have committed criminal acts which could be proven in a court of law, but they're not even being charged. They're not even making it to a court.
Yeah, it's pitiful for our country, because we know that for the past 50, 60, ever since JFK got assassinated on live TV, there's been nothing but globalist swamp creatures that took over the presidency, and they've been using our military to do things that are just for the New World Order, and picking fights all around the world to set up a security state and to basically enslave us digitally. And that's where we are right now. So, I really hope the American people wake up to what's going on and really get involved, because this is the last chance we have. And if the beacon of the world gets put out, it never goes back on.
No, that's true. And many times, James, during my presentations to people, I always ask this question: who are the first line defenders in America? And over, they will say, well, our military is, our law enforcement are the first line defenders. In actuality,
Nope.
my belief is that Christian and Jewish leaders in America are the frontline first defenders, and it's in their hands. If they fail the American people, then America will collapse.
Yeah, exactly. Like we have our military, we have our police officers, we have our agencies, but at the end of the day, we outnumber them by like 2,000 to 1. So at the end of the day, it's really up to the people in the states that they live, in the counties that they're part of, and to hold their public officials accountable on a statewide basis, all the way down to the local levels, to actually produce the change that we're going to see on the federal levels. So with that,
100% agree. We have our sheriffs, who are probably the most powerful people in the nation, who could put a stop to a lot of this criminal activity. But then again, you have the federal government, who will not allow the sheriffs to even do their jobs.
Yep, exactly. We got about 10 seconds left. Can people find you on a website to support you or anything like that?
If they want me to answer any question they may have, just contact me at davegaubatz@gmail.com, and I will send them prior affidavits, one who went undercover in mosque. Any question they have, I will answer.
All right, awesome. Well, Dave, thank you so much for coming on tonight. I appreciate you and all the hard work you've done throughout the years. And with that, we're going to close this one out. I'll see you on episode 4 of the James Justice Show. Thank you for tuning in, ladies and gentlemen. Salute. See you later.
Beacon for all to see, a symbol of hope, a symbol of human.